and welcome to the Food and Beverage Leaders Podcast. I'm Andy Barr, owner of Barr Transportation. We're so glad you joined us today. Now, our mission here is very simple at Barr Transportation. It's to provide you with the most reliable and honest national transportation for your goods, paired with proactive communication throughout the entire life of the load. Now, this podcast is designed exactly for you. It's for sales managers, produce managers, logistics managers, traffic managers, the entire C-suite, anyone else who really wants to perform at the top of their game in this global food and beverage industry. So whether you're big or small, West Coast or East Coast, this podcast is meant for you. Now make sure to stick around at the end of each show and we'll reveal how you can apply to be on the show yourself so you can grow your authority, build partnerships, and help your business boom. Interviews are about 15 to 20 minutes long, and I'll leave you with my favorite quote: preparation plus opportunity equals success. That's it. I'll see you on the inside. Enjoy this episode. All right. So today we are with Tim. Tim, I'm sorry. I'm going to butcher your last name. Angelillo?
Close. Angelillo, but with a funny last name like that. That's why I just go by Tim.
Okay. Very good, Tim. Very good. Well, thank you for joining us. Tim is the CEO of Sourcecraft Cocktails. They are based out of Austin, Texas, 6 years running. And Tim, just want to welcome you to coming on.
Andy, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So I guess we'll just kind of dive right in. You know, with Sourcecraft Cocktails, kind of give us a background about what that is and how you got into the cocktail sector and a little bit about yourself as well.
Absolutely. Thanks again for having me. We're excited to be with you and your audience today. Sourcecraft Cocktails is the largest craft cocktail delivery business in this country. As you mentioned, we launched on October 1st, 2015. And as you could imagine, in the middle of a pandemic, with all of us stuck at home and most of our favorite watering holes, meaning bars, closed by order of state governor, we delivered a lot of cocktail kits in the last 18 months.
I bet.
So
nice.
What Source is really built to solve for is sort of living at this intersection that we call mobile convenience, which is you and all of your listeners have a remote control to life. In fact, they're probably listening to this podcast on said remote control, whether that was Android or iPhone is a little bit irrelevant. And quite literally, our remote controls to life, our smartphones, will get us everything. They get us in car, Uber. I recently took my 6-year-old daughter to Paris. I got somebody else's house from my iPhone, Airbnb.
I like that.
Groceries, Amazon, right? But why can you not get a cocktail from your phone? And that's really what we set out 6 years ago to solve for, which is this intersection of mobile convenience and curated trial. And what we're solving is alcohol distribution by modernizing the 3-tiered system, which was enacted on December 5th, 1933, and still in a legally compliant way, making it work for us, the 21st century mobile phone consumer. And so that's really what we set out to be able to solve for, and what we're excited to have grown into the largest player in the space.
Fantastic. So you are the Uber of cocktails.
That's correct. And when Uber is a great reference point, as Uber just acquired. There are 5 big, what we call pure e-com players in the alcohol space. And you got to remember, Andy, for your audience, right, the alcohol industry, as we take our consumer hat off and we put the Wharton MBA hat that I do not have, for the record, on, right, and we look at alcohol. I have a working MBA, no actual physical documentation, right? Like many entrepreneurs out there.
Exactly.
But when you look at the alcohol industry as a business, not as your personal Friday night sandbox, the alcohol industry is fascinating. $254 billion TAM, addressable market.
Wow.
On an annualized basis. The regulatory environment has not changed in 89 years, right? in terms of the distribution model, and won't for another at least 10, if not 100. And lastly, it's recession proof. So
absolutely. People probably drink more when things go bad.
Not probably. Historical fact. Over the last 100 years, there have been 13 economic declines, and in every single one of them, the amount of alcohol that got enjoyed in a bad economy is more than the year prior. So World War, no problem. Alcohol went up. Oil and gas crisis with Iran, no problem. Alcohol consumption went up. Great Recession went up. How about a pandemic? It closed half the marketplace, right? Literally. Restaurants and bars, by order of state governor, closed in 2020, right, to keep everyone safe and keep them at home. So clearly it couldn't have grown with half of the distribution points that are traditional closed. Nope, it grew by 14%. U.S. consumers, by double-digit growth, enjoyed 14% more ounces of alcohol in 2020 than 2019.
Oh my gosh.
Well, and here's what's interesting about it, right, is that you have this massive addressable market that quite literally, no matter what happens, will only grow. And you have a regulatory distribution model that is 90 years old. And that's really kind of how the industry is built. And there are 5 pure e-com players: Drizzly, Saucy, Minibar, Reserve Bar, and Sourced. And Uber just actually acquired Drizzly for $1.1 billion. And what makes Source different than the other 4? And I like to point out, different doesn't mean better or worse. It's just we serve a different market than the other 4. They only deliver a bottle. And we only deliver the entirety of the cocktail experience. And I'll give it to you, Andy, and for your users in kind of in a retail apparel mindset.
Yeah, you're kind of like the Blue Apron of cocktails.
Totally. The way we think about it is there's Kohl's and there's Saks Fifth Avenue, right? Kohl's is a perfectly fine place to shop, right? It's just not Saks Fifth Avenue. And we're serving that Saks Fifth Avenue consumer, more affluent, a little bit older, and we're serving a Saks Fifth Avenue experience where it's extremely curated and flawless to the nth degree.
Mm-hmm. Well, no, it's really good because I don't want to go buy a whole lemon and use one slice of it. I don't want to buy, a whole bag of pecans and only use 2 of them for 4 drinks from 8. Like if you can just put it all together, that saves me time. Which of course everyone has their own priorities, but to me that's a win.
It's Andy, I laugh because number one, we view time as your most valuable resource. It's the only thing in your life that you cannot buy more of, right? You can't go, if I Venmo'd you $100 right now and said, Andy, let's go buy 60 more minutes. We could go on Amazon. No, not there. Well, maybe it's not a digital thing. I can't believe in 2021 it's not a digital thing. But let's go to Walmart, the super center, right? $100 bill. You walk in, you ask the greeter, what aisle is 60 minutes on? They're like, don't have it, right? So it's the only thing that you can't buy more of. And that's really what Sourced is built for. It's built to be able to deliver you mobile convenience, right? From your phone to your door. You don't have to go to 3 different stores. You don't have to squeeze the limes by yourself. But yet you shouldn't settle, right? You shouldn't, the moment that we gather, either virtually or in person, matters. Otherwise, we wouldn't have made time to do it, right? And having, right, cheap white wine in a plastic cup does not say special.
Right.
Don't care, right? And when you think about it, in half of our marketplace is serving what we call enterprise clients. So we help 18,000 office managers around the country: Apple, Google, Netflix, UBS, Accenture, Deloitte, you name it, right? We're helping their office managers and HR departments create company culture, which is mind-blowingly important always, but certainly in this time period that we now know as the Great Resignation, right? If your employee doesn't feel like she's connected to the company, its culture, and its people,
right?
That recruiter in LinkedIn says, I can get you 15 grand more for the same job. You know what she's going to say? Sold. And you're going to be out of a qualified person. And so cheap white wine in a plastic cup doesn't say you're special to me, right? It says, I don't really care, to which point she goes, great, I'm out. And there's a huge opportunity cost loss to the business if you're churning through people. And so whether it's what we call B2C, you're having your family over, you haven't seen them in quite a while, and you want to have a good experience, but you are the CEO of your life. It's what we refer to as the chief entertainment officer, right? She's busy. She's busy as a professional. She's busy as a mom. She's busy as a partner. She's busy as a health conscious.
Exactly. Yeah.
She's got a lot of things going on, and going to 3 stores and hand squeezing limes ain't on the list.
Right.
And that's what we took care of, is that we source, that's the name of the business, everything you need, including the bottle of alcohol, from your phone to your front door.
Well, I think you just filled the answer to what's your competitive edge, right? Because like you said, there's no one else doing the curated kit.
Correct. Yep. So we're the largest player on a national basis that does a fresh, meaning it is prepared in that market. Those limes are hand squeezed. That syrup is made by a mixologist in a commercial kitchen that day. And if you order by 2:00, it'll be on your door between 4 and 8 p.m. that evening. We're the only player on a national basis that's delivering it fresh, same day, every day, day after day, in the top 8 markets in the U.S. So Los Angeles, San Francisco, Chicago, as we like to refer to it, since we're headquartered here, the Republic of Texas, Austin, Dallas, Houston, New York, and Miami.
Okay. And you're coming to Charlotte, North Carolina tomorrow? Yes.
Oh, I wish.
Come on.
Not yet. Love Charlotte, great town.
Hey, we're growing like crazy. Big finance industry. Got a lot of bankers who need a lot of beverages after a stressful day. I mean,
Well, what's interesting when you talk about the financial service industry, what we're seeing a lot of in our enterprise segment is we're helping the wealth management industry entertain their clients, right? It used to be you take somebody to play golf, you take somebody to Ruth Chris, you take them to Capitol Grill, right?
Sure.
You need that relationship building time. It's really important. They're giving you their money, right? So there needs to be a certain amount of trust, which means there needs to be face time. Well, in a world where corporate travel isn't as prevalent, in a world where that wealth management client might not be comfortable physically gathering with somebody outside of their immediate bubble, right? We're creating these educational segments where we'll take a category like bourbon. We'll actually distribute an old-fashioned kit with multiple kinds of very high-end bourbon. Everyone will jump on Zoom. The individual will get FaceTime with his or her clients, and then our mixologist will educate on how does bourbon get made, and why is it 51% corn, and what does coopering mean, and how I've heard of this term alligator char. What is it, and what does it do to my bourbon? And my favorite place to always start with bourbon that most people don't know is that it comes off the still clear. It's as clear as water. There is no color. The color comes from the aging process, right? And even people that are really knowledgeable and have a very extensive bourbon, whiskey, and scotch collection might not know that it comes off the still literally as clear as vodka, and the color comes from the aging and the type of wood, and being able to still create that business relationship and getting that FaceTime so that you feel like they know you, you know them, so that there's the trust that gets built when we're emailing or texting about should we execute a trade or not.
That's great. Having the mix up. I thought you were saying, the client and his client were, just a standard Zoom call, and you sent his client a kit, so they're both drinking and having a nice conversation, one-on-one or one-on-two. But no, your mixologist is in the middle there, and maybe just for the beginning of the call, and then they talk privately. But that's great, because then there's still some sort of like entertainment, and then it can go into, hey, thanks for the education. Now we're gonna, drink our whiskey and talk business. So
we loosened them up. You knock them down.
Exactly. There you go.
We are constantly iterating that product. So We have experiences around categories, bourbon. My favorite one's the agave happy hour. We're literally teaching people what the difference is in the fastest growing category in the alcohol industry. So what is the difference between tequila, mezcal, and Sotol? Right? Most people go, oh, they're the same thing. It's like, that's like calling a strawberry and a lemon the same thing. Like they're both fruit. After that, there are a lot of differences we might want to discuss, right?
Yeah.
So we're teaching people about the agave plant and where it's grown and how they're different, how they're harvested in the same way, but they're processed totally different. My favorite example is that the heart, which is called the piña, of the mezcal agave plant is actually smoked like a brisket, which is why when you have and enjoy mezcal, it has a smoky taste profile because they literally stick the football-shaped piña into what essentially is a smoker, which is what gives it its characteristics. It's why watermelon juice or pineapple juice are really great in a mezcal cocktail because the sweetness off the fruit will cut a little of the smoke, so it doesn't taste like you're trying to drink down a campfire.
Got it.
We're constantly educating people, trying to create the opportunity that we're still having an experience that's unique and unique to us, even while being remote and virtual, as we hope to all conclude the pandemic.
Yeah, the Zoom calls are probably a pretty fast growing sector for you.
We helped be of service to 2,314 companies in this country, either create relationships with their employees or their customers in 2020. And it helped us put to work to the tune of $1.75 million of shift labor fee at anywhere from $20 to $30 per hour of putting out of work bartenders back to work to deliver those cocktail kits to some of the Fortune 100 companies' employee bases across the country.
That's fantastic. Wow. So, and it'll just get, as we get slowly back to normal, I don't think you'll lose that Zoom. I mean, you'll go down a little bit as people go back to normal, but you'll still get a lot of companies, I'm sure, they'll still want to get together with their clients to have, because it's like you said, it's a little icebreaker in the middle, and it's always nice to loosen them up a little bit, and then it's like, okay, even if it's a quarterly Zoom call, it's like, so
the way we're here to be of service. And so in addition to our Source Social product, which is our virtual kind of Zoom or video-based product, we have two other enterprise products. One is referred to as the Parlor Club. So it's meant for flex work, right? I think it's where from the 18,000 office managers that we're of service to and the surveys that we have done with them, it's what feels like the majority of our work experience will be as Americans moving forward, right? You will go to the office 2, maybe 3 days a week. And the reason you're going to the office 2-3 days a week is to do the innovative work that's required and done best together. So they're going to lock departments into a conference room as it's safe to do so, and you're going to brainstorm, right? So you get accounting and sales. And sales says, here's what the marketplace is telling me, and accounting says, here's what the P&L says we need to hit, right? And you're going to spend all day back and forth trying to figure out your next pricing strategy. At the end of every meeting that you've ever been locked into a conference room or ballroom, what do we as adults get? It's what I like to refer to as the adult version of a bank's lollipop to your kid, right? You wait for your parent to set up the checking account and give you a lollipop. The lollipop in that corporate environment is a cocktail, right? And so we've built a product using our sourced on tap draft cocktail machines that are the size of a Keurig. They just sit in the office building fridge where you used to keep half an ounce. The office manager just pulls the little cocktail machine out, puts it on the conference room table. At the end of the meeting, you pull the tap handle and everybody's having a perfect cocktail, right? This idea of you, the employer, have to give me, the employee, a reason to not feel, and this is their word, meaning 18,000 office managers, this is the word that keeps coming up over and over and over again. The employees don't want to feel forced to go back to the office. So the reality is then I need, as the employer, to give you a reason to feel like there was added value at the office, right? And having a cocktail and getting to know your colleagues socially after the business meeting is a reason to do it. It's a great way to create retainment, right? Because if you look at lots of different studies out there, as us as human beings, we as a human being don't feel like we are a part of a tribe, right? Whether that's a corporate tribe, whether that's a friend group tribe, whether that is a religious tribe, right? Any format of group, we don't feel like we're part of a group unless we directly know 7 people that are already in that group, right? And if you don't create these opportunities, either virtually or in person, where people, employees are getting to know one another beyond just the Slack channel, again, the first $15,000 more that a recruiter offers on LinkedIn, she's gone. She's gone. There are 10 million open job roles right now in this country, which means that marketplace is so competitive. Not only is it going to cost you more to replace the person who had institutional knowledge, it's going to cost you a lot of time. And as they like to say, time is money.
So no, I mean, that's great. I mean, have you, 6 years in, you've probably have a pretty robust marketing sector for your business. But I'm just thinking out loud, like SHRM, right? That's the Human Resources Association and things of that nature. I think partnering with those types of professionals will help you explore different companies. Yeah,
absolutely. That's exactly where we're best of service is office managers, HR department, anybody who has a title, of people and culture. Those are the people we can be of service to. Again, by creating that opportunity for employees to socialize and get to know one another so that they can feel like they're a part of your company tribe, so that they stay. They don't just jump, or at the very least, they give you, the employer, the opportunity to counter, as opposed to just, I don't even know you. I've never even met you. I have no idea what you do outside of the Slack channel, so I'm gone, right? And that's what we're trying to help office managers and HR departments across the country solve for.
And I mean, that's huge, because when you work for a big company, it's very easy to become a number. And you broke up into teams, but yeah, this really is. I can see why it's taken off and has taken off, because you're really helping that cohesion, which it's a lot more than just a celebratory event. It's more of like, okay, helping retention, helping human capital attitude on a daily basis, knowing that at the end of the meeting there's going to be a little reward, increased participation in the meeting because they feel more comfortable. So yeah, no, this is great. To close, Tim, anything you want to leave our listeners with, ways we can connect with the company, any new flavors or anything at all?
Yeah, absolutely. If we can ever be of service, don't hesitate to reach out, and you can find us at sourcecraftcocktails.com. My email address, if I can ever be of service to you, either as fellow entrepreneurs or helping you build your company culture, is tim@sourcecraftcocktails.com. And I'll leave us, Andy, with one thought, which is probably the most important thing that we have learned as business leaders, which is your organization absolutely must have a North Star. You've got to be able to communicate what is the one thing that we all get out of bed, whether we're coming to the office or we're staying around. Like, why do we get out of bed and work here every day?
That's really good. What do they call it? The vivid vision.
Absolutely. Right. And we express it as the North Star. Right. And here's why that's important. If you can't express a North Star, it doesn't matter whether you have 2 smart people, 20,000 smart people, 200,000 smart people. Doesn't matter how many people you have working for you and working on that brand and that business. If you can't tell them all where we're trying to arrive at the beginning, middle, and end of every day, there's no hope of being successful. And at Source, our North Star is to be of service. We want to be of service to you, the consumer. It's convenient and it's highly curated, and it's from your phone to your door. We want to be of service to companies. Let us help you recruit and retain your employee base by creating a company culture. But we can communicate and articulate to all the people that are inside of our company, right? Thousands and thousands of people who help make our product and service what it is today, the largest craft cocktail delivery business in this country. We can do that because we can communicate the North Star is be of service. And that's what I think we should each remember as we carry forward in these turbulent times is, do I have a North Star? Am I communicating it over and over and over and over again, right? And am I putting every major decision through that filter, right? Because if I have a North Star and I express to the entire company that this is why we got out of bed, then I have to practice what I preach, which is whether we hire somebody, whether we fire somebody, whether we take another investor, whether we don't take another investor, whether we take a client, whether we take a different partnership, whether we have a new ad agency. I'm putting all of those decisions, right? The little tiny ones and the really big ones, I'm putting them back through that filter of my North Star. Is this the best way to be of service?
That's excellent. Tim, very true pleasure having you on. Thank you. And I encourage everyone to check out Sourcecraft Cocktails. This has been a pleasure today. And I hope you start your operations in North Carolina shortly.
Absolutely. Thanks again for having me.
Thanks, Tim.
All right. Thank you for listening to the Food and Beverage Leaders Podcast. I'm Andy Barr with Barr Transportation. Now, if you are a successful leader in the food and beverage space, believe in your company, and want to share your story, really look no further. All you have to do is go to bartrans, BAHRTRANS.com/podcast/apply to apply to be on the show. Lastly, if you enjoyed listening to our show, please consider sharing the link or a screenshot on your social media accounts. We want to help as many people as possible who truly believe education and discussion is where it all starts. Of course, if you know someone that would be a great guest, connect us and we'll explore to see if it's a good fit. Again, thank you for listening to the Food and Beverage Leaders Podcast. And as always, we'll leave you with our favorite quote: preparation plus opportunity equals success. Now go crush life, and we'll see you again soon.